Oh, now? Right now?
Live
Everything's
now.
good?
We're
All
live
right.
on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got stuck in the blue room.
Rabble, rabble, rabble.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Look at the pop out chat.
How are you guys tonight?
Hmm.
Oh, that good.
Mm-hmm.
You were fine until you started your NPR bullshit.
Oh, is that what
Raise
I'm
the
doing?
energy level.
Is that what I'm doing?
It's not. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe you're just not my type, Brett. But I don't find it. It's kind of like a sultry voice, but I'm not attracted to you.
You know, that's fine. I
I'm
don't
just
want
biased,
you to be attracted.
I guess.
I don't.
Okay. I mean, there's
I
nothing
don't
wrong with it.
want the attraction from you. I'm cool with that.
Okay, that's fine. We're not each other's type.
No.
I think that was the problem. Like, I felt like there was always a disconnect with me and Jim too, and I think it's just because I wasn't attracted.
Attracted to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, you shouldn't be.
We
That's
spent a
fine.
week in Las Vegas together, sharing a room, and I have to be honest with you, nothing happened.
No, that's
well,
fine.
Very little happened. Almost nothing happened physically.
I spent the weekend with him across the hall in a different hotel room, and again, nothing happened.
That's your story.
Yeah, I'll stick to that.
Yes, you're right, Wayne. 6:38 is live. 1-1 means 6:38 apparently. 6:30. I have to remember to count. By the way, poll.
Kent.
Who counts?
Kent.
Who counts 1, 2, 3 starting with a finger, and who counts starting with a thumb?
Germans.
I have this debate with my wife, and she claims to be German. She's only like a quarter German, really. But she counts 1, 2, 3 like this, which I find difficult because I
Oh.
can't hold these fingers very well without
That's
using my thumb
That's
to
Germanic.
hold them.
There you go. That's a little bit more European.
Oh yeah, don't
Yep.
use fingers, use toes. All right,
Haven't you ever watched the movie Inglorious Bastards? You should know better.
I have seen that movie.
Yeah, well,
Been a long time.
that was one of the tells when one of the Englishmen gets found out in
okay.
the basement fighting scene when he asks for dry beer bitte, and that is the tell that he is not Germanic.
Stickin82 in the Discord says, I start counting with my middle finger. Okay.
That's not his finger.
Oh, okay. But thank you, Kent, for reminding me to hit record. Although I've only forgotten twice, ever.
I thought it was once.
No, it was
Oh,
twice.
wait.
Yeah. One of them, I didn't hit record, and then I was too dumb to know how to get the actual original YouTube stream, so I did some 720p thing that was like 900 megabytes. And now I know how to go in and look at like Inspect Element and like get the actual
Yeah.
streams for it. So it's not as big of a deal. But I'm sorry that our YouTube notifications are slow. It's okay, you haven't missed anything. You missed me talking about possible physical encounters with
yeah.
Jim.
Sebastian's Guide to Attractiveness.
No, it
Yes.
wasn't that even. It was just like I was admitting that something may or may not have happened when Jim and I were in Las Vegas together. That's all.
I don't think you drink enough.
Well, we know that, but
That's true.
It's true. Somewhere around here is my drink, and it is. Can I not bring it down here? I swear
Sorry,
I-
we can
forgot your
wait. We
Fanta
can wait.
upstairs.
Hold on.
We can. His Fanta. He's got his orange Fanta. Maybe one more beer. Maybe one more.
Got it. Got my drink.
Delicious water.
What is the buffer latency? I don't know. I have it set to super
More than
low
2.
latency. What's the stream settings? I keep on getting this error too. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
It's judging us, is what it is.
And then when I look at the stream, it looks fine. And it's, let me see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I should probably actually be watching the stream live.
You know what? Orange
Maybe.
Fanta is actually a reasonable drink.
All right, I'm gonna hold up my hand again and count. 1001,
And a good mixer.
1002, 1003, 1004. Oh, it's
You're
about
holding
a
up too many.
4-second latency right now.
Too many
Nice.
fingers.
Unacceptable. If you guys want to interact with us, understand that your comment will not. It will always be 4 seconds late. That's what I'm trying to say.
At least.
Or
What are you
we're
talking
ignoring
about?
you.
We talked about that 4
Or-
seconds ago. I'm not talking about
or-
that again.
Or we're ignoring you. That's one of the two things.
More likely, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's probably true.
See, but this time I have the I've been trying to have the pop-out chat visible in addition to just vMix. So I have another monitor here so I can monitor Discord, but I usually get lost in the show notes and never check anything. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna hit
It happens.
record.
You did that already. You would be hitting unrecord now.
Nope, I didn't hit record yet. I just talked about it.
Josh is a zombie this evening.
I wonder if the new version of
Oh.
vMix would allow me to do H265.
H265. How bold.
I did some H265 experiments last week, but I did not export the podcast that way. Let's see. Audio bit rate. Okay. All right, we are now recording.
Again.
Okay. I think I got all the chats.
I'm
Oops.
giving it all the video I can. Maybe I'm giving it too much video. Do I really need to be
Okay.
streaming this at like 16 megabit or whatever I am? No, it's not that high, is it? Oh well, we'll talk about it next week.
Jeremy, the live page is live, isn't it? I thought it
It
live.
is.
It's true. See, Bruce
Okay.
gets it. He gets it. He's like, there's no need for a notification. Like, who cares if it's slow? We don't even get started till like 10 minutes past the hour anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pull up the Josh Burger so I have the image available.
Oh.
Got to talk about it. All right, here we go.
Oh.
Take the browser full screen. I almost showed it. I almost
Yes,
showed it.
I thought
We're not
dessert
doing
was
it.
quite delicious as well. I'm not partial to souffles, but
Okay. Recording a movie that I don't know.
yeah, Young Frankenstein.
I know that movie. I don't know. Apparently, I don't know those quotes. You always bring up like. What are the most important quotes? The Sweet Mystery of Life song, the Knockers,
What knockers?
What knockers?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Why, thank you, doctor.
Walk This Way.
Yeah, walk this way.
What are the other ones? It's
Werewolf.
Alive.
Their wolf.
Wolf.
Their castle.
Werewolf.
There, Wolf.
There.
All right.
Josh, are you going to tell us a story about your childhood again this evening? Because that was
No.
very sweet last week.
What? Oh, my brother beat me up?
Yeah.
Was that a true story or were you
No.
quoting a movie? I never know with you.
Could be either
He
one.
never actually put any bamboo underneath my fingernails.
Okay, I figured that was.
And that was the only
traumatized.
fictional part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, let's get started.
Forcing my
Is it-
jaw
is-
open and letting flies run around the back of my throat. That was
Yeah.
that was a singular
Hey, you
experience.
got Big
All
Brother's
right.
an adult
Definitely
character.
therapy in your future.
Look, my brother enjoyed everything that ever happened to him. I'm sure it did him a world of good. That's why we don't talk anymore. All right, it's July 21st. All right, let's get going. In 3, 2. Hey everybody, welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 638, being recorded on July 21st, 2021. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Sprunberg.
There's a lot of smacking going on.
Did I do some smacking, or was that
You
everybody
and
else?
Brett both smacked in a row. I'm going to have to edit it all out.
I'm going to have to smack you.
We could go again.
No, it's okay. I'll just make an edit point right here, just a really quick
All
one.
right. Smacking.
You can find out when we go live for events like this podcast recording session by going to pcper.com/subscribe and subscribing to our spam list, where we'll spam you with notifications about YouTube notifications that you may or may not get until we're actually live. You can also support us by going to patreon.com/pcper. Do we have any new Patreon news, Brett?
We do, and we actually finished sending the email minutes before we went live. Many
Great.
minutes, like more than 10.
Not making
so
a great
that
case.
maybe 15. Anyway, that probably worked out okay. Yeah, we actually have a new patron who unfortunately had to email me with the. He asked for the link to the Discord, and I'm like, oh, that's not working still for new patrons. But I want to thank Mr. Zarek, who has a really cool avatar image. I just want to say, very, very Deadeye kind of thing going on. So
Okay.
great
Check
to
it out.
have you here. Thank you for
Yes.
supporting this whole crazy going on and keeping this the wheels on the bus. Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. And if anyone's a patron now, go in and change your name or add something new. I'll get an email. And I might even be able to read it out loud on the air.
Yeah.
If not,
This only if you watch live, though. 'Cause this is not
Yeah.
the kind of
Yes.
thing you can't interact with a recorded podcast. as
You
effectively.
could,
think
but
that
it'd
you
be
can.
in your own mind.
you can.
Right.
You'd be
You can-
waiting.
in that case, leave a comment in YouTube saying, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And then
Yeah,
we
you can
can
do
like,
that.
if I see it, I'll be like, "Oh, hey." But then
No,
it's
whatever.
not. It's not
Hi.
exactly real time. We're about a 4-second delay. It's not
Not on
quite enough
purpose.
for me to censor as much as I should from Laramie, but it's
Yeah.
yeah. I can hit
And
like
it's
the
just-
emergency kill switch, but it doesn't usually.
and
work.
it's just from Laramie.
Yeah. And
Wait,
speaking
I
of
wanna add.
Laramie, smoothly transitioning to camera 2 burger of the.
So I've had this one multiple times before. Thanks, Kitty. Apparently she. Cat, come here.
It's all about the timing.
It is. Anyway, today's burger is the classic. It's one of my original favorites from them. It's the Hayfire. Hayfire is an extra spicy burger with double patties. For some reason, they put lettuce, onions, and tomatoes on there. I didn't specify that, and also a small slice of bacon, which was an interesting surprise. But I'll take it. But anyway, the Hayfire is 2 patties, 2 buns, fresh chopped jalapenos, a pepper relish, but in this time they didn't have pepper relish, so they did pretty much full chilies, roasted green chilies. It was quite good, and then topped off with a chipotle mayo, and it's and also pepper jack. No, is it pepper? Yeah, pepper jack cheese. And so it's a fantastic overall experience. It's nice and spicy. Because of the spiciness, I had to have a salad instead of fries. Kitty approves, I guess. What are you doing, Cat? You want a burger?
I don't want to split
No?
hairs here, Josh. Just for clarification, when you said it had 2 patties, 2 buns, I'm only seeing 1 bun. Are you counting the top and bottom of a single bun?
Top
as
and
2
bottom.
buns?
So yeah,
That's
yeah.
not 2 buns.
Josh, I'm
Sure
curious
is.
about the bacon. Was that an unusual include? Was that an ad hoc thing?
It
on
was
the,
because it usually is not in there, but it wasn't like a bunch of strips of bacon. It was just like one small piece.
Do you think it was just
Like
an
a
accident?
lonely-
Like they'd started to
It
make a
may have
bacon
been an
cheeseburger
accident.
and like, wait, which one did he order again? And they had
Yeah.
to like, but
Yeah.
they're like, I
What
can't,
the hell's
I can't
a
take that
Hayfire?
bacon off. I'm gonna have to throw it away. I'm gonna leave it on there
Yeah.
as a surprise.
It was great.
Yep. Works out.
Yeah,
It's like
fantastic.
it's like a
Another
junior bacon cheese.
excellent. Yeah,
Excellent.
nice and messy. Tasty, went down quick.
We're still talking about the burger, right?
Yes, we are.
All right.
I was just going to throw in a nice knockers again, but okay.
No, not that kind of show.
All right. Oh,
Now, we
yeah,
as
it kind of
tra-
is.
As is tradition here at PC Perspective. Last week we recorded our podcast. The night before, huge news broke in the industry. So then here we are to talk about it, almost a week late. So if you're still curious or still feel like talking about the real Switch Pro, and by the way, I was actually proud. I channeled Jeremy when I wrote this, and of course, since stories default to all caps, you can't see all the intercap nonsense I was doing. But the title of the article is Valve's Steam Deck is the Pro handheld that might make you switch to Linux. Get it? Because it's like the Switch Pro, but they didn't announce the Switch Pro.
It's clever. It's
kind
clever.
of. It's okay, but it's just it's the Steam Deck, not Stream Deck, not
Steam
the
Deck.
Elgato Stream Deck.
Steam
It's the
Deck.
Steam Deck.
So
I
you
don't-
had two clever vectors
I
going
don't know
on.
why it's the Steam Deck, but it's an AMD powered handheld for PC gamers, writes Sebastian Peak at PCPro.com. And if you're not familiar with the specs yet somehow, and you care, it's AMD. It's basically like mini PS5. Think about it that way, because it's a custom APU with Zen 2 CPU cores and RDNA 2 GPU cores. That's right, I said RDNA 2. This is that mythical RDNA 2 powered APU that we so desperately need in the age of zero graphics cards availability. But it's going to be in a handheld PC. What do you guys think about this thing so far?
It's not GCN. Oh my gosh.
That's all you have
Good
to
for
say.
them.
It's 4 to 15 watts.
Yes, and it's custom silicon.
The display is 16 by 10.
Yeah, and
Very
it's
nice. Nicely played.
If you're wondering how will I be able to play my library of Steam games on something that's only up to 15 watts, well, the screen resolution is 1280 by 800, and I mean I used a laptop with a 1280 by 800 screen in 2009 as my everyday machine. It was fine, and this has significantly smaller pixels than that because the screen's only 7 inches, so I don't think it'll look bad.
215 PPI, I believe.
That's
Something
fine
like that.
for something that's not that
Yep.
close to you. The Nintendo Switch is fairly popular. Has about a 7-inch screen. It's only 6.2. The new one has a 7.
I think maybe you undersold it at Fairly, but yeah.
Right. But it's a 1280 by 720 display. So this one is a little bit taller, 80 more pixels vertically, but essentially the same form factor as a Switch. And instead of playing Nintendo games, you have your whole Switch library, or your whole Steam library.
Steam.
Yeah. Until somebody hacks a Switch emulator onto it, but sure.
Well, right, because it's a PC. It's the
Well,
most
it's a Linux-
gaming
it's a
power
Linux
you've ever
PC.
held, says the
Yep.
Stream Deck website. It's $399 if you get the one that has eMMC, 64 gigs.
64 gigs. Yep.
If you want an NVMe SSD, which I think is just a little 30 millimeter one,
It's the short one, yeah.
it's going to cost you
It's what, $5.99?
$529.
Yeah, $5.99.
$529.
Now they do
Yeah, if you want to
imply.
pay
$529. Let's not spread misinformation. $529.
All right, yeah.
And then the 512 gigabyte model, that's the 529 is for 256. The 512 gigabyte model is $649, so $120 more to double.
Or 819 in Canada.
But the other
I have
interesting
this-
thing, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I have this to say about eMMC. It's robust. It's not very fast,
Okay,
but it is
thanks.
robust.
Yep.
Yep.
The more expensive model has anti-glare etched glass, Brett. Does that sound familiar to you? Who
You know, it
etches
kinda
their
does.
glass?
Well, there's a little company with a fruit in its name.
Yeah. So, plus you get some other.
Yeah, but it
goodies.
comes in an exclusive carrying case.
I see
Yeah.
that.
They do throw
Wait,
that
I
in.
thought you got
That's-
the okay. There's a different carrying case. I will. I'm gonna be transparent here. I ordered one. I ordered the
Good for
middle
you.
one. In fact, okay, what I did was I ordered the chance to buy it later because that's how this works. You reserve it for $5 because $5 proves that you're a human being, I guess. And then
yeah.
when it's available, they'll email me. Apparently,
Did they give you that $5 back?
if I cancel the pre-order,
No,
I'm
if
assuming
you
it
go
goes
through with the order.
towards the price.
I hope so.
I hope I'm not paying $5 for the privilege of buying this later.
Yeah.
I
that
mean,
would-
I
that would
think you might
terrible.
be.
Great. Okay. Well.
Hey, you know what? I heard that all of the variants were equipped with the NVMe interface, but
I would assume
I
so.
think they throw in a caveat as far as being user accessible. They say don't. I read through their website, and they say, while it is replaceable, don't even try. Not sure why.
And that's
You know,
definitely
no.
going to stop everyone.
No, it will stop no one.
Yeah, but
Well,
how
maybe
many
it's my
1
stuff, some people-
terabyte of those mini cards have you ever seen? The 2230s.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, yeah, not
Not
really
many.
any.
None.
So that does explain a little bit the fact that it is over $100 more to get a 512. This is going to be a more expensive form factor. I don't know. Anybody order one of these? Are you interested?
Yeah, I am. I think if I didn't know it was $5 to get in line, I think I'm going to go probably do that.
Well, at this point,
It looks, based on the pictures that I saw, it looks physically larger than a Switch.
yeah, I think it is a
and-
little bit
Yep.
chunkier.
Another important difference is to note that there is a dock. I did see that there was a dock, USB-C connected, so it's not like a physical kind of drop-in connection like people would be used to with the Switch. It's
Switch is
it's a
USB-C.
wired. Well, yeah, but it's physically on the dock versus
The dock
they're
is just
implying
a piece of
that
plastic.
it's wired. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I own one. Brett, do you own a Nintendo Switch? Do you have one in your house?
I have had it in my house,
Oh,
more than one in my house, multiple times. Yes.
Oh, okay.
My
All right,
kid
fine.
spilled a soft drink on somebody that we knew's Switch.
Nice.
Not really.
Oh.
He's
Josh.
19 years old, and he
Oh.
just spilled it. It's like,
Let's.
Yes,
Let's
David.
look
The
at the-
dock
Luckily
is
it
a
was
USB-C
cleaned off
cable.
quickly.
Yes.
It has those square trackpad things on both sides, in addition to analog thumbsticks and a D-pad. There's just a whole bunch going on here.
And they went with the left-right mic too. I thought that was.
boy, I
interesting.
wonder if you can disable the trackpads. You have to be able to, because
Yeah.
you get hot and heavy into a game with your thumbsticks and you start
Oh,
dragging
yeah,
over the
yeah.
trackpad.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't
Yeah.
good.
Well, and if you're really
Actually,
hot and heavy, it's got a gyro in it, so it actually moves and changes your aim point if you move the damn thing as well. So yeah, you could get really interesting with that.
That's even more Switch-like, as is the location of the active cooling fan vents.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where the inspiration was. Like, hey, they can do an actively cooled thing. But this is
Speeds and
significantly
feeds,
more powerful.
babies.
16.
That
That
is
is-
speeds
that is
and
a
feeds, man.
lot. It's a 4-core, 8-thread. That's just a lot of CPU and GPU for that
Mhm.
much wattage.
Yeah.
I'm kind of impressed.
You
I
know,
mean,
there-
we all knew 7 nanometer TSMC was good, and it's interesting that Valve has apparently more than enough money that they can contract services for AMD for custom silicon. I'd imagine that is not inexpensive.
Yeah.
You know what else is not inexpensive? Putting 16 gigs of LPDDR5 on board. Quad channel. Well,
Interesting.
quad
Wow.
32-bit channels. But still, that's a decent
Yeah,
amount
it's
of
got good
bandwidth.
granularity. Yeah.
Hey, there was a comment a little while back about 4-core, 8-thread being enough to kind of play your Steam library. So is the cake a lie? Do we need 8 cores?
I think at 1280
6
by
cores?
800, it's enough.
All right, you've got a good
That's
point
the
there.
key
Sure.
there is the lower resolution. If they tried to release this at 1080, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah,
1280 by
okay.
800 is so much easier to drive with even integrated
Yeah.
graphics. So,
Yeah.
and these are RDNA2. There's 8 CUs. It can go. It's a 1 to 1.6 gigahertz. This is more like the PS5 than the Xbox, because it's going to depend on thermal headroom, I imagine, power limits.
Right.
So if you're in something that's less CPU intensive and more GPU intensive, I imagine it's going to be able to clock up the GPU more. And then it has up to 1.6 teraflops of FP32. That's single precision. And we're used to, like the Switch, they measure everything in FP16, half precision, which is how they got their impressive numbers with the Tegra SoC. So this is pretty legitimate, and I believe it supports higher resolutions through video out. You could use this as
that would make sense.
desktop if you
I wonder
wanted
if they're going to do FSR.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
maybe.
Let's
They're
see.
gonna
It's
have
essentially
to
VSync enabled too because it's locked at 60 hertz.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's
USB
for
with
sure.
DisplayPort 1.4 alt mode support up to 8K 60 or 4K 120. Doesn't say anything about variable refresh rate. USB 3.2 Gen 2. And all of these have, regardless of storage, they have a UHS-I. It's a high-speed micro SD slot.
You'd kind of want it to be.
Yeah. Which apparently you can store your games on. So if you don't mind slightly slower loading times than, say, the NVMe option.
Or install random software on.
True.
Well, I mean, it's running a version of Arch, right? SteamOS
Yeah.
or whatever they're calling it,
Yeah.
Yep.
is
it's
based on
Arch.
Arch Linux.
Correct. And that was the other big concern is, well, what do you mean my whole Steam library? This is running Linux. Put Windows on it. You would never want to put Windows on something that you want to be efficient.
Yeah.
I don't want my Steam Deck constantly rebooting to install even more bloatware updates. But
Think of your battery life. Think of your battery life, people.
there's this thing called Proton, and
Yep.
they're going to be working from now until this launches in December on getting even more support for this. So that was the pledge, was that they were going to be working with developers and getting this thing ready. So you have marquee games that you can play on it right away. And Proton, it adds there's a little bit of overhead, but I mean you're playing Windows software on Linux, so it's the fact that it works as well as it does, especially again for something with the screen resolution this low, it should be okay. I'm looking forward to it. I think I got my pre-order in time for the first wave. I might be wrong about that. It might be Q1 2022 instead of, or was that the earliest? Because right now, if you
I
order,
think Q1 22 was the earliest.
Okay, because right now it's Q2 if you reserve.
Oh, okay.
So you missed out on wave 1, no
It's all right.
problem. You can be in wave 2. And there was
will
all
do
sorts of
that.
problems initially. If you looked on Twitter right when it launched, it was crashing for everybody. You couldn't log into Steam. I tried for about 5 minutes, finally got logged in, and then it took me another 5 or so to actually complete the purchase.
Yeah, apparently they were having some issues that day.
Yeah. Well, apparently the demand is there, or it was just
Yeah.
bots. We never know.
Can you mine on it?
It's no 15. I don't know. That's a
Probably
lot
could.
of LPDDR5 on there.
I mean, yeah.
That's the same amount of RAM as a Radeon 7.
Yeah.
Like, what am I talking about? All the new 6000 series GPUs have 16 gigs.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll happen. Unfortunately.
Next topic. I immediately, anytime I see these words, I think of Josh. Global
yeah.
Foundries.
And then Josh.
There are some rumors swirling around, Josh, are there not?
They're rebranding themselves.
What else?
No
What else
longer
besides the
is there a globe.
What else?
Well, they're going to build another fab in New York,
Yep.
and they're expanding the Nuruk fab as well.
Okay, let's talk about the news from last week.
Are they,
Oh,
are
that
they playing hard?
tomfoolery
Are they
about
playing
their
hard to
logo
get?
change.
Are they playing
no,
hard to get,
Intel.
Josh?
There was
Yeah,
a
well,
rumor
Intel-
that Intel's going to buy them for $30 billion. True or false?
Yeah. Nobody knows.
Ooh.
Global Foundries says no.
Okay.
Mubdala is not saying anything, and Intel's sort of not saying anything. But apparently, some people behind the scenes have said that Intel is talking directly to Mubdala and inquiring about purchasing it. So it's interesting that Mubdala also was invested heavily in AMD, and then they dropped their investment, which was obviously, in hindsight, a pretty poor move. But, who would have thought that AMD would have rebounded as well as they have, which, historically speaking, they always seemingly have. So that was a bad move on Mubdala. But yeah, it would make sense in ways for Intel to try to get in on more foundry business. Global Foundries is really one of the world leaders in fully depleted SOI, mixed signal type stuff. So you've got analog and digital on the same chip. They do that very, very well with their 22 nanometer FDSOI or FDX 22, I think. I can't remember the exact names. They still sell plenty of stuff. They cover automotive really well. I think they have some ISIO certification. I can't remember again for that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're staying busy. I mean, they're not doing as well as they hoped. They had to cut back on their cutting edge stuff. It doesn't mean that they're not eventually moving in that direction. We just haven't heard a whole lot about it. And I mean, they did say, we're not going to 7 nanometer anytime soon. But I still have, working 14 nanometer, 12 nanometer, 22, older, their 28 nanometer high-K metal gate is actually still a really good product for certain use case scenarios. So, they're staying busy. Intel could have utilized the extra fab space. Could have gotten a lot of really good IP out of it, because if you remember, IBM pretty much gave Global Foundries their fabs and test fabs and $1 billion to kind of just get it off their hands. And so, I mean, they've got a lot of good engineers, scientists, R&D, really cutting edge stuff that they haven't brought to market, but it's just kind of sitting there waiting. So it's interesting that Intel would have made that move in that direction, but TSMC is making some good money, and the demand for third party foundries is at an all time high right now, and it would make sense for somebody to take a look in this direction.
And Josh, you don't need to be on cutting edge. The lowest, smallest form factor in order to make a ton of money. The automotive industry does not need 7 nanometer chips.
7 nanometer stuff.
For instance.
Yeah. But I mean, Global Foundries, it's still privately owned. Well, it's owned by Mubadala. I can't remember how. Boy, I'm just losing it tonight. But so we don't know a lot of their financials. They're planning an IPO sometime next year. So then we'd get some vision into how they're doing. But apparently they haven't been doing great. Again, Mubadala wants to kind of move away from them, and again, that's an impetus for this this IPO that potentially is coming up next year.
Okay. I was hoping for all sorts of fireworks and the theories about, why would they be acquiring Global? Is it just for their fab? Do they need this?
Well, I mean, they don't need it, but they've had several, attempts to open their own fabs up to third-party foundry work, and that has not gone swimmingly. And so, buying up these guys and being able to, double your wafer capacity and still have all of these other relationships with the other companies, you're able to kind of balance out all of your manufacturing, even in times where CPUs may not be selling as well, or you don't have a product that is as competitive, and sometimes you have some fab space that could be utilized in other things, that they'll have this knowledge and base to kind of lean upon to help them through. So I don't know. I mean, that's entirely speculative there, but we'll see.
All right. Well,
I don't think it's going to happen, though.
Oh, you don't?
It was interesting, but it's probably not
the acquisition. You don't think it's going to go through?
But what about the tantalizing prospect of anti-competitive?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough
intentions?
sell, especially with the U.S. government, spending upwards of $25 to $50 billion in domestic manufacturing, and suddenly Intel comes in and scoops in Global Foundries, and that's it's Intel who now has Global Foundries, and there's like Micron and Samsung who have foundries in this country, and that's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
I thought TSMC was building something in Arizona. Is that
They're
is that
building,
true?
but it's not
Yeah.
here yet. It's like 2025.
There's
Yeah,
a hole.
okay.
But we need it now.
Now,
2025
now.
doesn't help me
And
get a GPU
Intel,
now.
I thought Intel also got U.S. government dollars to help them build something also in Arizona. I thought that was the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things
I
that
don't
are
know.
the case, it has been the case all
Uh,
day. If you've been checking tech news, like I have, that there's this story going around about this MMO that I just heard about this morning because of this, called New World. And it's from Amazon. And isn't that exciting? An MMO from
It's-
Amazon that's in a closed beta right now. Who cares? Well, turns out that allegedly, if you have an RTX 3090, you should care because you will brick it by playing the game. And only RTX 3090s somehow. I don't know. There's theories about this, about the way that it has like a split power delivery on certain cards, or the capacitor issue rearing its
I don't
head
know.
again.
Mhm.
But and here's the issue: a uncapped frame rate in the menus. We're talking thousands of frames per second in a menu until the switching components on the card just explode and it doesn't work anymore. So
That's expensive.
I reached out
Yeah.
to NVIDIA today. And what's interesting is it was Amazon. Amazon and NVIDIA are both looking into it. Amazon's the one who releases the statement. So looking over at video cards, because it was really, this is either going to be a driver issue or a developer issue, I thought. And I know that it's popular
Yeah.
online to either blame EVGA, because apparently most of the people complaining are blaming EVGA, or
I think that's just circumstantial.
or to blame NVIDIA, and because of the Space Invaders thing, like, aha, it's hardware. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to be fair here. I'm not trying to defend anybody, but to me this morning it's like, why don't they just patch it? Like, just patch it so it's 60 frames per second or 120 or whatever it needs to be in the menu so this doesn't happen. Because I will tell you, I hear some horrible, horrible noises from NVIDIA and AMD cards when you're in certain games menus. There's a shrieking, horrible sound that I get the heck out of the menus as fast as I can. So, anyway, the statement.
StarCraft 2 had that famously.
Yeah, I read that.
Utterly and completely uncapped when you were in the ship. And yeah, mostly it was whining, but this will probably be some sort of power limiting thing, and you're only seeing it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see it on maybe 6900s too. But they're not quite as power hungry as the NVIDIA cards. I think it hits a point where it's literally pulling in so much power that it hurts itself a little bit.
Right, this is the thing that's supposed to be addressed in, I don't know if it's hardware or driver level. Like, what is the anti-Furmark fix for GPUs? Is it software level, or is it actually?
I believe that's
something in
driver.
hardware? I would assume almost all of this stuff is driver. But anyway, getting back to this statement, this is via videocards.com, and I had also read about this at PC World earlier today. But the Amazon Games statement today.
Not
Quote,
our fault.
right. Quote, hundreds of thousands of people played the New World's closed beta yesterday, with millions of total hours played. We've received a few reports of players using high-performance graphics cards experiencing hardware failure when playing New Worlds. A few. You've received a few. More than one. You're
Apparently,
admitting it.
some
A few.
6800s also have blown up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
New
Oh,
World
interesting.
makes standard DirectX
And
calls is
6900.
provided by the Windows API. We have seen no indication of widespread issues with 3090s, either in the beta or during our mini months of alpha testing. It's
All
safe to
three of
play.
them that you had to test?
It's safe to play. But what's funny is, even though they're issuing this statement, they are going to patch the game.
And
As-
why not?
As
Sure.
Gordon at PC World is reporting, Amazon defends alleged GPU killing game, but we'll patch it anyway. So, what do you think? I'm very curious about that AMD thing now, because this has been a punching bag. Like, pro AMD people have been having a lot of fun with this today.
Well, I think they're probably a little bit premature.
Okay.
Because we're talking such low incidence. Like, there's a tiny amount of people that own a card of that power, and of them, a tiny amount playing as beta. But if a large percentage of that tiny percentage all have this issue, they seriously deal with that quick, guys. Someone.
Brother, you knew what I was talking about. Brother Michigan in our Discord, resident AMD mega fan.
Oh, it's true. He is. He is.
Like, I was looking at video cards this morning. I think it was video cards for PC World or somebody, and there's brother. Like, why is he? He's in my Twitter feed. He's in the Discord. He just won't. He just won't go away. Yeah, you'd think. I don't know. I don't know if, like, your Dark Lord in the chat. Like, are there no power or thermal limits implemented in hardware? I would assume this would all be driver level. Why would you implement fixes for specific software titles in hardware? Just put it in the
Well,
driver.
Sebastian, a game publishing house as sophisticated and experienced as Amazon,
As
should
Amazon.
probably know better.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Isn't it more fun to shit on Amazon anyway?
Yeah.
At least it is for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Just make sure that you don't take a break to do that.
He left to become an
Exactly.
astronaut. He left to become a
A cowboy
suborbital
astronaut.
astronaut.
Yes.
Suborbital. You know, he had his day in the sun.
Got his
Oh, no.
hat on, looks good.
PC Per live stream has bricked the device. Bruce asks, I'm rebooting my NVIDIA Shield. PC Per killed it. I'm sorry. I'm sending too many bits. This is what YouTube has been complaining about. It can't keep up.
Yes. Your frame rate is just too fast.
It's apparently well, where available. This is an 8K 120. Where available.
Yeah, where available. Yeah, the bandwidth needs to be enormous.
Now the
So-
the caveat is that the camera I'm looking at is only 1080p, and that the feeds coming in these windows here are only 720p, like 2 megabit feeds. So
I had my camera set to 1080. It's a 720 feed though.
unless
All
I
right,
change,
whatever.
yeah, if I go in and change it, everything is broken, and I have to send you a new vMix.
All right,
link.
but don't do
Okay.
that.
We'll
'cause that's,
play with
that's-
that later. When we go 8K, we'll
All
have
right.
to upgrade our
Yeah.
our web.
Nobody
Fine.
wants to see these pores. Nobody.
But if and Josh
I
can't
ain't
really
trimming my nose hairs just for this.
it will be kind of a privacy risk for Josh, because if we go high res, you'd be able to like read things on his wife's desk,
desk.
back there.
Yeah,
like,
I know, yeah.
like personal information. I'll be getting his social security number while he's talking.
easily.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody needs that high resolution cat butt. I just want to say right now.
I don't know. Some
No.
people
You
might
just
be
don't
into
need it.
Ratings will improve by
I-
tenfold.
Don't think we need those people. I really don't.
Oh, that's not very welcoming. All right, Brett, I think you added this. Somebody added this. NVIDIA, RTX,
I did.
DLSS, ARM, Linux. What do these words mean to you?
They have started to support DLSS and RTX on ARM because why not? They're in the middle of their acquisition. But Linux, it just keeps coming up during the show here over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It should really
Almost
be
like it's the year of the Linux desktop.
It kind of is, and you know what? We're not done. It'll come up a couple more times in the show as well. But the important thing to note here is that the most advanced rendering techniques are now going to be available on Linux. So it's starting to become a really, beyond Proton, very viable platform to
Interesting.
experience the best possible gaming.
I just want to stay. I'm stuck on this screen for a reason. The subtitle of this article at Tom's Hardware,
This is Tom's, yeah.
is "The seeds for the NVIDIA ARM acquisition start to bear fruit." Okay, I just want to say I've had this conspiracy theory for a while now. The only reason that NVIDIA was buying ARM is just to stick it to Apple. Just think about it.
No,
This is
no.
the
Apple
true- 'cause
owns
Apple-
a license
Apple
that they can do whatever they want
They own it
with
for
ARM.
now. But what happens when NVIDIA buys the company that they have a license with?
Yeah, I don't know what their terms are.
Exactly. Do the terms
Maybe.
include selling to NVIDIA and then having
I don't
Jensen
know.
take Apple by the balls?
No,
have
they
it,
own
we
they
want
own a license that
Tim.
they can implement their own silicon. So
Okay. But they're still licensing the ARM
you may have a point.
IP.
The ARM yeah, the
M1
it's the ARM
is just
instruction
ARM. It's just
It's the-
ARM.
It's
64.
just ARM V8.
Yep.
set. They license the instruction set and I think certain design aspects, but then they're allowed to kind of because they add to it. They of course they do their own thing. They have I
But
don't
then they'll
remember
add
the
certain pieces of microcode that make it run poorly on an M1.
they might do that, yes.
So let's see. All the technologies are here. RTX technologies, global illumination, direct illumination, DLSS. I'm not sure why am I drawing a blank on the RTX memory utility? But there's it's kind of exciting. And actually, Nintendo fans, we mentioned the Switch earlier. This could be that little hint that those DLSS rumors about the Switch Pro might have been true. Because the Switch Pro is actually running, it's basically a Linux handheld, like the Steam Deck.
Linux, it just keeps
I know.
Coming
it's,
up
It's
in the-
everywhere. It's everywhere.
is.
Windows isn't. Well, except for that
I'm gonna-
7% of machines that are.
I was
running
going to say
Mac
something
OS.
later, but I'll say it now. I'm,
Okay.
I'm thinking that that Windows 11 is going to cause an inflection point with people taking a look at Linux again, especially with how strong it's coming on in gaming,
Okay.
and the requirements of Windows 11 to have certain kinds of machines. You might see a little bit of more uptake in the Linux side. I'm just going to maybe predict that.
We'll talk
that
about
Windows 11
I think we'll talk about that a little
can be
bit
a bit of a barrier.
because we're going to
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about maybe new life for Windows 10, that kind of thing. Because it
Yes.
does seem like you mentioned the buzz term inflection point, and that
Yes.
is, I think that might be correct because it could just be like new PCs are going to have 11, but 10 is still pretty good. You can still use 10. Don't worry about 11
Yep.
and those hardware requirements. So they kind of want to do a mini Apple here and try to force people onto newer hardware for their OS. But anyway.
Yeah, well, pity that the hardware and OS aren't tied together at the hip.
Exactly. And that's the only way you can really do it. Let's face
The
it.
floggings will continue.
Yes.
Until morale improves. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
No,
Speaking-
no, at this point, they're just going to continue. Either way.
All right. So the Linux story's not done here.
Oh, okay.
There's
More
like
Linux.
the subtext to this. So not to be left out. So there's that A sub underneath 4. FSR has been hacked into Vulkan games on Proton's Linux. Proton, obviously, for game playing on Linux. But yeah, there's an FSR hack to bring it to all Vulkan games being under Proton. So
Nice.
even FSR is being brought to Linux. The Linux story just keeps expanding and is
Well-
looking better and better for gaming.
It's unofficial. I mean, it's open source now. It's officially open source at this point.
Is it unofficial when it's open source? I mean, you're
I
in a
don't think so.
quasi.
Yeah, it's a fan
exactly.
or a
Exactly.
whatever developer who's not
Hey, it's
officially
open source.
associated doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anybody can do anything they want if it's open source. All right.
Yeah.
Just like Zombo.com.
Yes.
You can do anything you want at
.com.
Zombo.com. You can do
Yeah.
anything at Zombo.com. All things
I don't
at
know.
Zombo.com.
Why don't? Is this like a bubble 2000 bubble thing?
Oh, he's so sad sometimes.
Yeah.
I didn't have a computer at home until 1999. So if it's before that,
No, it was after.
No, it was after that.
No, it was definitely after that.
Zombocom.
Zombocom.
The impossible is achievable on Zombocom.
Oh, God.
Anything you want.
apparently there was
Zombocom.
a very good penetration for their PR campaign among the people in this group. Okay, so we were talking about Windows 11 a minute ago. I didn't realize it was the next story. We could have just seamlessly transitioned because
Here we go.
one of the things about
Rocket.
Windows 11 was you could get direct storage in Windows 11. You can't
Oh,
get it in
exciting.
10.
Yes. Yes.
And so that was there was just things you had to upgrade for, and it's annoying because then all these CPUs below like 8th gen were not supported on Intel side. You couldn't even use an original Ryzen CPU, and on and on and on. And all the complaining I've already done about it, but
Freaking A.
look at this. Now you don't even need. Oh, look, Windows 11. It's really just an update to Windows 10, guys. We're just calling it Windows 11 because we can enable direct storage in Windows 10. So you're going to get those next-gen I/O rates. That sweet NVMe straight to system RAM connection. Microsoft changed their minds about Windows 11, and the news is good for those
Surprise.
planning on sticking with Windows 10, writes Jeremy Hellstrom at PCPro.com. So it's interesting, isn't it? How we didn't really ever actually need Windows 11 for anything
Well,
but.
but it likes it better because Windows 11 was designed from
What-
the ground
what
up.
did you
Oh, yeah.
mean?
Direct
Windows 11
What did
was
you-
designed from the ground up. Bullshit.
What does that even mean? It likes it better.
Is it a new? Is it a new kernel? No. Is it a new
No.
driver stack? No.
It's just got more bits bolted on,
an update.
Oh, come on. They moved the dock to the middle. The
and
menu.
that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so-
they did the Paul Thurrott. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Can't forget that.
He posted about that a year or two ago, and I was like, "How do you do this?" And I click, and it was premium only. I wasn't premium at Thurrott.com, so I couldn't read his tutorial on how to center your dock in Windows 10. And so he talked to his buddies at Microsoft. I'm theorizing here, and they're like, "Just put look how pretty my desktop is, and look, you know how influential I am." So then they're like,
That's
we're going
probably-
to do it, Paul. We're going to
that's
do it
probably
just for
right.
you." It's Windows 11 Thurrott. That's the code name internally. We had Longhorn. Now we have Thurrott. Speaking of Windows 10, Windows 10 21H2 SE 2.0 plus 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 turbo
Ah.
super
Yeah.
It's almost
LTSB.
like a process. It's almost like a process node.
super fin. It's Windows 10 21H2 SE super fin plus 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 S Junior.
That's so that you know that it's not Windows 10 21H2 that you can actually download and preview right now.
Right.
Because it's
Windows
totally
Red
different.
13. Let's see. Something to tide you over. Let's see. How do you phrase this? I keep saying let's see
Well,
for some reason. A small
I think you've
concession-
said it.
A small concession to Windows 10 or Windows 11 is Windows 10 21H2. What does that mean? The second half of 2021, which should be
Yeah, but
it's not
make
the
news.
Windows
10 coming
I'm
out.
sorry, that is different from Windows 10 21H2 because this is Windows 10 21H2, right?
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Oh, for God's sakes.
All right, let's click
Yeah.
on the link. You can register here. Windows 10 gets 5 more years. 5 more years. 5 more years.
Which sucks because if you stick with the old 2019 version, it's got 10. It still goes
Wait,
to,
what?
well, not quite 10, but it's still got 8 more years.
Really?
But it doesn't
So
go
the
to 11,
original
that's for
Windows
sure.
10 long-term
Oh,
service
this
branch
is a
was good until
ploy.
2029.
This
You
is a
upgrade to this
ploy.
one, you're dead in 2026.
You've read all those rumors
But-
about Windows 11 being really tough. Well, get this. You support it for 5 more years, guys. When the original supported for 8.
It's a
okay.
it's a bait and switch.
Kind of is.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's slightly less insecure, but yeah, you're going to lose 4 years or 3 years off your
But I'll
support.
get that direct storage that much sooner.
Oh Lord, I need it.
Mm-mm.
I need that fast I/O from my SSD. That's well, I mean, it's faster. I can't wait.
It can
Wait
be
to test it out
under the right circumstances.
Because like, what if I'm bottlenecked by the interface right now?
Is that like a code word?
Just
Yes.
I
one.
can't come to the phone, honey. I'm bottlenecked by the interface.
That sounds like a Strange Planet comic.
Yeah.
I'm
It kinda
bottlenecked
does.
by the interface. It's a
I
euphemism
s-
for the rhythm method. All right,
I think I
terrible-
saw that in an episode of The Simpsons.
It's a terrible Tuesday for both Linux. There's that word again, and Windows
Linux.
sysadmins. Writes Jeremy. I haven't read the story. What is it all about?
It really sucks for everyone.
Okay.
So
This lady looks very. I don't know. She might be having a headache. Might-
well, no, it's a headache on top of a headache because I mean she's still got nightmares.
Well, oh no.
Oh,
this.
and-
Look,
and
Yeah, what I
then-
really want to know. Yeah, I was gonna.
This
say,
is
there's
not-
no cables.
Yeah, it's not plugged into
connected to
anything.
Her monitor.
This is the new-
I too would have a headache in this,
This
situation.
isn't even a real monitor. This looks like a prop.
It's a secure system.
Oh, I see.
It's
yes.
very, very secure.
It's a very
what they call-
secure system.
It's air gapped. That's
Is
that's
this?
what that means.
I think this is a Logitech mouse, and if I'm not mistaken, they've just cut the cords off of wired models here.
You know, they're always telling us to cut the cords.
They're not even using a wireless one. Anyway, what were we saying?
She's mad because nothing works.
Right, it's like, oh.
Mhm.
And look, oh, she's even are these clips? She has a 3-ring binder here. It looks like they're not. Are these unclipped? She's like,
Well, if
cutting
they're
her
clipped, she is
elbow.
now stuck in there.
yeah, her shirt is caught on the 3-ring clip.
Oh
what were
my
we saying?
God.
There was this picture gave me so much that I had
Yeah,
to go with
it's
and I'm glad you noticed.
And it keeps giving.
She just
It
thought she
does.
was posing for a stock photo, but it tells a story. She
It,
has,
it
she's
tells an
definitely-
entire
she has a
story.
future as an actor.
She's definitely embarrassed she was in this story. Let me tell you
Yes.
that.
Oh, for sure.
Well,
Well, she's embarrassed
well-
that she's not getting residuals from us because we're absolutely not paying her anything or using the photo with any attribution whatsoever.
All right, so someone was playing around with Windows 11 and realized that the SAM, the security account manager, which is where all the hashes of your passwords and various system passwords and keys are stored and encrypted, was set so that a normal user could read it. And the second you're able to open it and read it, guess what? You will find a way to decrypt the damn thing. So they pointed out and said, well, that was kind of silly of you to overlook that. And some other people are like, wonder if it's there on Windows 10. Oh crap. As of some of the later patches, They've also set it on the volume shadow copy. So literally anytime you install a major Windows update or an MSI installer, a shadow copy is created, a snapshot of your system, which includes the SAM, which is readable to someone who just can access it, as opposed to having to run as an admin or a service or anything. So this
Now,
is...
those are hashed. They're hashed.
They're
so
still
it'll
hashed,
take some
but-
work. You'll take
Yeah,
some
they'll
work
take
to
a little
get
bit
at
of work.
them. It depends.
But you'll get able
on
to get... You'll get the system, and this is a great one for corporations. You'll get the password of the account that was used to create on the first Windows install. So you will get the corporate root account. It will also give you some of the system hashes, which essentially are the whole encryption key for that install of Windows, so you can just decrypt whatever the heck you feel like if you can just get your hands on that one hash. So that really kind of sucks, and especially with all that we're going through right now. This is just not great, and you don't
It's
really
icing
want
on the
to.
cake.
Yeah, it really is, and you don't want to get rid of volume shadow copy. It's probably not going to do you well in other ways. Now, Linux admins can't say, haha, Windows, you screw it, because someone found a very old bug. And
That's Canadian
is,
for Linux, by the way. Just want to let
It's
everybody know.
beautiful. I can't figure out how someone did this, but essentially if you mount a folder whose path, the sum of which the characters exceeds 1 gigabyte. So they were like a million or more nested files, so that the entire string was more than a gigabyte. And then, so you create that, you mount it, and then you delete it. All of a sudden, the mount info on the system will give you full and complete system rights to everything, because it's given up on life at this point and says, what the hell, just do it. And so there's a bunch of Ubuntu's, Debians, and Fedoras that it is doable, and it is easily replicable if you put together a little script to write yourself a set of folders nested that deeply that you can actually overload it, and just get the keys to any Linux system you want.
Now, this was actually based upon a systemd problem, and anybody who really kind of is, I'm going to Linux a little bit here. So anybody who understands systemd is it's more akin to kind of the way that Microsoft might run an operating system, rather than the way Linux typically does things, with small focused utilities and control scripts and control conf files and things like that. So there's been sort of a schism in the Linux community between the init system and systemd. This is actually a problem in a systemd buffer that can be overrun by that 1 gigabyte barrier that causes it to lose its mind and crash. So, but CentOS Red Hat has already patched it. They got those guys. It's already patched out for it. But the problem, of course, is systemd. Yeah.
I don't like this weekly depressing
Oh, you don't like it?
security thing.
Yeah.
Plus, we're just not equipped. We're no Steve Gibson.
We're
All right.
not.
Guitars?
Yes.
No.
All right. It's that time again already, because we've been doing this for about 50 minutes. We're trying to keep these. I'm trying to keep this to an hour, like a tight
doing good.
1 hour podcast.
Tight.
Join us every week as we discuss the latest topics for 1 hour. And now it's time for picks of the week.
Yay.
Josh, start us off.
So, I wasn't real happy with my 240 millimeter. They choose the 280 or the 240?
The 280.
It should be the 280.
It's the
280.
280.
Yeah. So a 240 Cooler Master was pretty loud with my even it was a Ryzen 5600X, and you'd think that would be pretty quiet as a 65 watt TDP, but it would zoom up and down. It was kind of annoying. So I was like, what the hell? I'm just going to go with it was on sale for me. Get the 280 H115i and slap that puppy in, and it's so much quieter, and it doesn't get the this is a refurbished one. Anyway, take that into account. It's probably perfectly fine, but yeah, that it's so much quieter. It doesn't zoom up and down like the old one. You've got the the IQ functionality you plug into your USB, and so you can monitor everything and adjust fan curves and all this great stuff. And so it's a good product for that much money.
Excellent. And
You know what isn't a good product for this much money?
what?
My pick.
Okay. I was just going to say the H115i is great, and I'm to the point now where I don't think I'd want to deal with a 240 anymore. 240 is passe. It's got to be 280 and up. Because even if you don't need it, like Josh is saying, it's not like it's an Intel processor, but it still is more efficient. So you can run it at lower fan
That
speed.
limits your cases, though. A lot of cases will not handle a
Here,
280 in
throw
certain
those cases
areas.
in the trash. Put them at the
Okay.
street. Somebody who
All right.
does metal scrapping will take it instantly.
Mm,
Trust
sure.
me.
All right.
This
Okay.
happens. It's seconds.
Mm.
Seconds.
Mm.
All right. At least where I live. Jeremy, you mentioned something about a pick. Oh no.
Oh
What
yeah,
is it?
Oh no. What?
LG has released the price on their 65-inch rollable OLED TV. You
Somebody
know, the
told
one
me
that,
in the
that
past I
rolls
need this.
down, back up.
Right.
It's only going to be $100,000, so easily
Oh.
easily affordable.
Okay. It's the same panel, but it rolls out.
Yeah, arguably not even that great of a, of a panel.
Is that the Intel guy sitting there watching it?
Yeah, it looks
Which
similar to
Intel
him.
guy?
What?
Which Intel guy?
He's not wearing socks.
Oh,
Ryan's boss.
Raja?
yeah.
Raja.
Okay, maybe.
See,
Wait,
he's
is
the
another
only
picture of
person who
him?
could
Hold
afford.
on. Is it? No. I mean, look,
See
Raja's
how
a pretty
it-
good-looking guy, but this guy looks a little bit more like a professional model here.
Oh, poor Raja.
Mm.
I'm sorry, Raja. I mean,
Yeah, and that's a different view. That's line view in,
yeah.
so you can just have like a little nubble of your TV sticking up. It's
Oh, that's
not
nice.
fully
Yeah,
erect.
That's
It's
what
just
we want.
sticking out.
It's just poking out. It's like, hey,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm
Yep,
ready.
this
for
is
some
that
action.
kind of
Turtleneck.
show, by the way. It is this kind of
But
show.
it's
That's
not
fun.
fully engorged yet. And look at that.
No.
There it is
Mm.
on a cold day. Here it is. Justin.
Ready
Murphy
for
from a
someone to
cold
trip
bath.
over.
You've heard of shrinkage, right?
Just came out of the pool.
Yep. Yep.
This is a nice apartment. Whoever has this loft, lucky.
Well, they can afford a $100,000 TV,
Exactly,
so I
and
mean,
that's what this is for. This is for the super rich. It's an inane toy of the super rich, and it's
The inane toy of the
because
super
I
rich.
have a OLED LG, what is it, B series, a B6 from 2016, and after 5 years of near constant use, I still don't have any burn in because I kept the screen shift feature turned on where it constantly moves the screen a little bit from side to side, and
well, boy,
but-
does this one ever move.
yeah, yeah. But mine has corner damage. There was some sort of impact that nobody has confessed to. And but still, even if I
Shocking.
Do we have a
replace
segue?
this, even if I
we have a
replace
segue?
this,
What did your son break this week?
nothing.
Yeah,
That should be a podcast.
Even
should.
if
Shit,
I
my son
replaced my
broke.
TV every time my son breaks it,
Wait.
I would still never spend this much in my entire life to have a 65-inch OLED at all times. This price is ludicrous.
Yes.
It's like those gold-plated iPhones with jewels encrusted in them. Oh, hey. What was at Mac sales this week? Brett,
Actually, mine is TV related as well, and
but it's
it
from
is for.
macsales.com.
But they actually
But-
do tend to pick up. Stop it. They do tend to pick up some things that are universal in their application. This is an interesting TV wall mount. It'll take up to like 170 or 180 pounds.
So you can do
Not for
pull-ups on
monitors.
this.
You practically could. But the interesting thing about this is it allows you to tilt the TV, but it allows you to tilt it totally flat so you can get at the back to wire it.
No.
you
This
can
is
get
so you can
mounted.
put it. No, this is for bed. This is so
You could.
you can mount the TV
You
above your
could.
face. This
Yeah.
is
So
the
that
dream.
when the earthquake
This is
happens
the
and it
dream.
falls,
That's
No, but
not
it's strong.
what it's meant for.
It's strong. It is. It says it right here.
180
for-
pounds.
For sleepers. Let's see.
You
It's
could.
designed to
The-
make
the
installation
vase-
of flat panel TVs and monitors a one-person job. Easy installation.
It's
of
because it
wires and
allows it to
ground
tilt to get to the back. It's
I would
very
put this over
sturdy.
a bed. Seriously.
You could. You definitely could.
Who likes having to awkwardly prop themselves up? Like you have that weird kind of like leaning against the back of your neck thing, kind of trying to
Oh,
get
it's
comfortable
terrible.
against the pillows. Nobody wants that. Put it directly
right.
over your face.
Yep, you can just reach up over your head and just kind of pull it down, and so you're like laying straight in the back, looking up,
Whoa.
and there it is.
Only 12
Your
available.
full
12 left.
65 inch. But look at the price. It's $35, man. Now this is VESA 200, so this isn't good for monitors, but most TVs have this spacing, especially larger 50 plus, 40, 42, 48 probably plus. Televisions have this VESA spacing, so this is a reasonable, very sturdy
Say here.
base amount with a tiltability.
Oh, okay.
Lots of
42
tiltability.
inch and larger are
Yeah.
typically going to have this spacing.
Mhm.
So,
But
that
$35, man.
get yourself a 65 inch OLED. Though, hey,
$150 normally, as they say, $150 normally priced. This seems like a heck of a
yeah.
deal. Yeah, it's probably a lot
$34.99.
less.
The shipping is
Yeah.
just $85.
Oh,
And
stop.
wait,
It's
actually,
not.
it says free shipping on most orders $49 and up. So you've got to find. I
You
know,
know what?
you
Throw
can do
a couple
it.
of.
Brett, you gotta-
Everyone
you
owns an
gotta
iPhone,
find
right?
$15
So
worth of stuff.
throw in a couple of lightning cables.
Sure, yeah, those Lightning to USB-C cables are actually cheaper there. I noticed that last time
Mhm, they are. Yeah.
was on their site
Good price.
here.
So yeah, this is actually a real television pick. So go take a look at this if you need a television mounted to your wall and you still want to access the back,
Okay.
or you want to put it over your bed. Whatever. You can do either one.
My pick is a piece of free software. Now, I'm sure anybody who's watched this podcast for any period of time knows that I'm the sort of vintage PC nerd of the group. Where it's like a hobby for me. And it's a dangerous hobby. It's an expensive hobby. And I'm trying to wean myself off of it and use more virtual solutions for old hardware. And of course, DOSBox is what everybody's like, well, just use DOSBox. Why do you have this old crap? It's just DOSBox. It's called DOSBox. It's true. But DOSBox, and I use the vanilla original DOSBox, which is, of course, multi-platform. It's been around forever. And then I've used the Perfect Pixel mod for a while. It was another fork of it. There's other forks. I had never used DOSBox X somehow until now. And it is life-changing almost. That's overselling it a little bit, but it's absolutely phenomenal. It's when you actually load it up, it isn't different necessarily. It just looks like DOSBox, but you actually have a menu that makes it so much easier to configure things. And it's more powerful. It has more options. It's like I can go right down from the drop down and say, I want to do Perfect Pixel, OpenGL. Like I can just do this stuff instead of editing a configuration file or having a specific version of DOSBox that's been modified to support this. So you have way more control over CPU speed. You can just on the fly. I'm like, I want to emulate a DX446, 100 megahertz now, and it just changes it instead of like going up and down on CPU speed or manually setting CPU cycles in the configuration file. There was a little bit of like an option before you could do like 46 slow, 386, like that sort of thing. There was a few different CPUs, but this is way more advanced. So if you've used DOSBox, try DOSBox X, and it's on every platform. Look at this. Not only do they have a Mac version, Brett, but they have
I saw that.
an ARM-based Mac version.
Oh my.
You can run this
Ooh.
natively on an ARM-based Mac. You can run it on Linux. You can run it on Windows. Windows version
Apple.
Windows XP. You can run it on a Windows XP device.
Apple was very
I could
stingy
load up
about.
Archimedean Dynasty on this and play it in Glide.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested in the PC98 capabilities of this, and I really want to get Windows 98 running in it. That would be great. Windows 98 running inside of DOSBox X? Yes.
That's crazy.
on an M1, you could do that.
Even more crazy.
That's
Because there is no
crazy talk.
x86 support
DOS Inception.
for emulation yet.
There was a lot of reverse engineering the Linux crew had to do in order to get the Linux booting kernel working on M1 because Apple was not forthcoming about the internal workings of the M1, if you can believe that. I know, hard to believe.
Shocking.
Yeah, well, they did it, so it's doable. Smart
I heard
people.
that Premiere went M1 native today. So that's like the final piece of the puzzle. Creatives out there. All right. Well,
I'm sure it's wicked fast.
I'm sure it is. On that note,
Honestly.
I'm going to thank everybody for watching / listening this week, and we will, in all likelihood, be back next week to do it all again. So, thank you. Until then.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Do
So
I
this was-
have an
Sure.
echo?
No, you're good. This was my vintage piece of hardware this evening.
Oh, you're going to do that? Okay, we're in the after show mode.
I am.
Is that
This
a
is my vintage hardware.
9500 Pro?
I think it's a 9600 because it's got 4 RAM chips on the front.
What's
I
the
think
FCC
it's 96.
ID?
And it's got 4 RAM chips on the back. But
Mhm.
that's a very good question. I would like to tell you the FCC ID, so I will. And it's very difficult to tell what it is. So let me try and figure out.
Yeah.
Taiwan. It says an 8894 version 110. I'm not seeing an FCC ID sticker yet.
Really?
No,
You can tell
not
it's
yet.
ATI because there's a red PCB.
Absolutely, it's definitely ATI, and that's I don't know if you can tell from here, but that's authentic dust
Oh, I
in
can tell.
the.
Look,
yeah.
this is nothing that you're doing is useful in identifying the card.
No, not really. Other than the general kind of layout and everything, and the fact that if the first person
video.
to identify
Oh, S video.
you spoiled it. I was gonna just query the people online, but
There's
Oh,
a lot of cards with S video.
there are, but a lot of not everybody knows what it is anymore. But it was
Hey.
also good for capturing. It was a great capture.
So that's an
you could
all-in-wonder
capture-
card?
Well, you could run it in both directions if you had the right software. You could actually use it to capture as well.
Because,
So there you
the
go.
card I showed off last week
And this is
has S video as well.
it. Indeed,
And
it
that's
does.
a Voodoo.
Wait a minute. How many pins does your S video have?
There's 2.
'Cause
There's an
He's
S
got 2
video,
different kinds.
There's an S video,
this is-
and there is a
This is the other kind.
audio,
See that? See that?
stereo
See how
audio.
many? See how many pins there are in this S video port?
Okay,
Check it out. Look at how
Yeah.
many yours.
that seems to have a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe neither
Does
of
this
these.
video
No,
dash
this one's
I?
S video.
So, wait. Here's the FC tested to comply with FCC standards. Blah 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 blah. I'm sorry. This is for home or office use. I actually can't use this on the podcast. I'm sorry. I shouldn't
Yeah.
be using.
And yeah, if
That's
it is an
AGD.
all-in-wonder, that
You
could be
see
the
an
stupid
FCC
little
ID on
pop
the
out.
screen somewhere on the board.
Yeah,
No. Okay.
that isn't S video. You're right. It's actually breakout. I have the dongle that's a breakout that does have S video in it. You're right. It had like a little box.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. It had a dongle and it broke it out to, I think, YCRCB and S video.
hmm
Anyway,
It was incredibly
it probably
useful.
still works. It probably still works. Yeah, it was a proprietary ATI breakout box. I have it somewhere. I've seen it around. Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
9600 Pro. That's what I thought it was.
I like this comment, Jordan. All those GPO review units, and you spend your time gaming on DOSBox. You better believe it. Brother Michigan says he uses a 3090. I don't, because I mean, some of those DOS games they could run at an uncapped frame rate.
Oh
wait,
my
no, that was just
gosh.
the Amazon title. Never mind.
Yeah, you let the smoke
You
out.
killed your 3090 playing what?
Yep.
Well, I was
Yeah.
playing Descent shareware version.
With the back door. I just can't believe that a game studio as experienced as Amazon is letting this happen. I just can't believe it.
That was your joke on the podcast too.
I know. I thought I'd run it again just to see what happened. Silly video cards like that with the S video output. Yeah, I lied. This is not truly S video. I'll find the breakout box next time.
I don't have an.
Yes, I have the hardware with the dongle. Yes, I do.
Dongle.
Yes, It was an Apple
Kind of
joke.
wish I
I get
still
it.
had my the old Voodoo 3 3500. That had a big breakout as well.
Yes.
That was a terrible cable. It was so thick and didn't move very well.
I think the card I'm holding, let's see. It is the, if it'll focus, the Diamond,
Oh, diamond.
what is this? The Diamond Stealth 2 G460. I think it's 460.
Is that a TNT2?
I don't remember. I think this is an i740, but now I don't remember.
Well, show me the front. Seems like an awful big heatsink for. And it could be, though.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Stealth 2 G460. Anybody have any
Actually, I have some new
It's a S3 chip, isn't it?
I would assume.
Intel 740?
Oh.
Okay. What you got there, Brett?
Did you know that Thermaltake is actually making a kilowatt power supply now?
Jeez.
Haven't
Good.
they
I'm
already?
trying to get those.
They make power
Yeah,
supplies?
they've been doing power supplies
Yeah.
for ages.
Yes, they have, but I didn't know they made 1,000 watter. Just
Yeah.
got this
Doesn't
to
everybody?
take a look at. Well, I mean, they have to now, right? Because of the needs of GPUs.
Of the many, outweighing the needs of the few.
Well, yeah. Well, there's
Or the
always the
one.
Star
Or
Trek
the one.
reference, or the
Yes.
one, exactly. Yeah, this has the ultra quiet Smart Zero fan, which is important. 80 plus gold, certified efficient, which is
Okay.
great at 1,000 watts.
80 plus gold? It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the
well, 1,000
baseline
watts.
for a high-end power
Yeah.
supply.
12 volts plus 12 volts is 83, just over 83 amps at 12 volts. That seems like enough. That seems like it might be enough.
It's enough for a 3090, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you
enough
might
to play
get
an
by.
Amazon MMO.
Yeah, it's enough to play
It's-
that game.
Yeah, barely.
I'm not sure it keeps up with the Amazon Game Studios frame rate.
Nothing
so-
does. You need to
no.
start. You need to look for certified for use with Amazon
you
New
do.
World.
Yeah, or just anything Amazon Game Studios.
Buy the
Yeah.
subscription to Amazon Prime and we'll stop killing your video card.
Oh yes. Here's a much
that-
better looking picture of the card I was.
That
waving
looks
around.
familiar.
For anybody who cares.
Anybody.
Somebody might.
I have this project idea. I have two. They're kind of in the works, but I've not actually done anything yet. One was to do a mini ITX build with a 386, an AMD 386. I have this super small board behind me. And then the other is to do something that was always sort of a dream of mine. The ultimate Final Fantasy VII PC version system. That was a game it's kind of notoriously hard to run, but I believe it worked with original Voodoo graphics, and you could also use official Intel i740 support for Final Fantasy VII, the Eidos PC port
Mm-hmm.
of that game. And there's ATI. There's an ATI, and I think possibly even NVIDIA support, but it's all very specific. And it's also tough to get sound working properly on that thing unless you have like a Roland. Or no, that actually used Yamaha. You need like a Yamaha XG, which I have. I bought all this stuff. And the game in the big box, the Trapezoid. But I haven't done anything with it yet.
There was a good suggestion that I saw somebody had for you, which was to sort of simulate what the Valve performance might be using, reducing an AMD CPU and
Yes. So I need
yeah,
the
to
Zen
try and
2
kind of simulate. Yeah.
quad core hyper-threaded part. So
Yeah,
like
mhm.
a Ryzen 5. What would that be? Maybe the Ryzen 3. Wait.
You
Yeah,
you'd
the
need Zen
Ryzen
3.
3 that's no, is it Zen 3? Wasn't the
Yeah,
Ryzen
you need
3 3300X? That's 4 cores, 8 threads, right?
It is, but you could always simulate it by, I think, in the BIOS, you should be able to drop out cores.
Disable cores.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, on a Ryzen 5, I could do that. Take it down to 4 cores. And then
Yep.
the other thing is, I was kind of waiting it out after I saw that suggestion. I see rumors. We didn't talk about it on the show. I forgot to add this to the list. But if you check video cards, the rumor is that there's going to be a new, slightly lower end AMD 6000 series GPU in August.
The 6600.
Right. So if that's true,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that actually makes more sense because then you're dealing with a lower CU count. And I could downclock it. Because I'm not familiar with any way to actually disable CUs at the software level to simulate a given GPU. And the CU count is still not going to be 8. That's
Right.
the other
Yeah.
problem. Like, yeah, CPU performance you could absolutely simulate.
Hmm.
But I'm not even, because then how am I going to simulate a 15-watt limit? I don't think you can set power limits that way.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Maybe you can. Somebody with more knowledge needs to clue me in on that, or just do it.
It would be sort of interesting to try and simulate kind of what that handheld performance might be like. You know,
It
with
may
certain
have to wait
games.
until December. This is one of the reasons I ordered one. Like, you know
Till
what?
you get one.
I need to test this, and I don't have any kind of relationship with Valve. So I guess I just got to buy it, and then we can talk about it. Take it apart, see how easy it is to replace the SSD, if I can even find one. In the 30mm form
And it-
factor.
Range. Yeah.
30-watt range.
All right. Anybody?
No,
got anything
no,
else
man, we
before
don't have
go?
any of that shit here.
I have
Uzi
one.
in 9mm.
I have one of
Yeah,
those 30mm.
that's exactly it.
It's a Transcend, and it's a piece of crap, and it's only 60.
Plasma rifle.
In the 40-watt range.
Yeah.
Nothing against Transcend, but the SSD. I
There's
bought is not
nothing.
very fast.
There's nothing wrong with Transcend. It's like the high end of the low end.
Yeah, it worked. It worked for the one application I needed it for, and then didn't need it anymore ever.
Ever.
Okay, it's 11:24. I'm actually going to go to bed at a reasonable time.
Woohoo.
Do you have anything else?
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta go feed
I'm
the
good.
kitties.
Keeping my
I'm
head
good.
above water. So.
Thank you to
Yeah.
the people who participated. Thank you to the audience in the Discord.
Yeah, you guys are great.
Mirror sending me more pictures of old hardware.
Yeah.
I can't even look. I won't look.
Look, it's a VLB card.
Oh, somebody has a video. ETA Prime. Is this how the Steam Deck will perform? Maybe. Probably. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, you could guess.
Yeah,
Really,
well, I don't
I wonder
know.
if the better choice would be to look at that PS5 platform. But the GPU's disabled.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, that one has a GDDR6, not 5L.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. I'm taking the stream down. Thank you, everybody.
Good
Hey,
night.
good night.